Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. You good in your head?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Cat.
Cool.
No, let me see.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Today it is Senior Day here at the Capital Center as the Comets are getting set to honor a couple of seniors here on this day, send them out as winners and give themselves much-needed momentum as the Ohio Athletic Conference Tournament will be starting up next week. Alongside Jonathan Brown, I'm Charlie Danis. So glad that we could have you along for the ride for this special presentation of Capital Comets men's basketball here on athletics.capital.edu. Again, it is Senior Day. It's also the final game of the regular season as the conference tournament is right around the corner. And Jonathan, this will be a treat today. We get to see two teams that earlier this year really traded some punches, with Capital coming out on top in a closely contested game at Baldwin Wallace.
Yeah, the last time these two faced off, it was a close one that came down to the wire. A final shot and a foul was able to send Capital to the free throw line. Baldwin Wallace had the opportunity to get a three-point shot back and unable to connect here. And now the stakes are even higher. You're not just playing just to get a win here. You're playing for a 6 seed spot here, and seeding is important in the tournament.
McCain Finkenbein was the man who hit that and one for Capital that helped the Comets get the win over the Yellow Jackets earlier this year. Really a defining moment for the freshman from Anna, Ohio. As Jonathan mentioned, seeding is on the line here today with the conference tournament coming up next week. With a win here today against Baldwin Wallace, Capital would firmly lock themselves into that number 6 seed, allowing them to play Heidelberg in the first round of the OAC tournament. And Jonathan, I think you would agree with me. I think at this point it'd be better to play a team like Heidelberg than to play the behemoths Mount Union and John Carroll. Seems to me it would be a better matchup for the Comets to start off conference play next week.
Yeah, that would be a better determination against Heidelberg. Off this season against Heidelberg, I believe they've lost both encounters, but you'll take your chances here. So, you just got to focus on the game at hand right now, and this is the game that's important. Focus on this one right now, and you can focus on the next one later.
So, Capital earlier this week taking on Marietta. And, Jonathan, one problem that has plagued Capital, it seems like, all season long, the inability to get off to good starts. They dug themselves a hole against Marietta, and they weren't able to dig themselves out of that hole against the Pioneers.
Yeah, that one, the damage was just done. We saw a new rotation, a new starting lineup here as McCain Finkenbein jumped into the lineup as a new starting guard to be the floor general here for this situation, but it just was unable to get an offensive movement going in their general direction, and it was just unfortunate right there. Capital is currently facing a 3-game losing streak right now. Their last victory coming on February 3rd to start off early in this month against a close one against Ohio Northern, and that was their last prior home game, and Now you got this last one to close out. Hopefully the fans come out here. It's senior night. Got a lot more to play for today, so hopefully they can get some energy here today.
Just to put a capper on what took place in that game versus Marietta earlier this week, David Sanford, the former Capital player, came out guns a-blazing, ends up leading the Pioneers in scoring with 21 points, shot 8 of 12 from the field, 3 of 5 from three-point land as well. Meantime, it was Dom Magerle who led the Comets in scoring with 14 points. He had himself a nice game, shot 4 of 7 from the field, 2 of 5 from three-point land, and a perfect 4 of 4 from the foul line as well. So now we turn our attention to today's matchup. As we stated, Capital with a 2-point lead over the Yellow Jackets. 58-56 was the final on that one. Griffin Doseck was the one who led the Comets in scoring in that game with 12 points, also had 5 rebounds and 3 assists. It was Jackson Simmons who was the leading scorer for the Yellow Jackets in that game with 16 points. He nearly had a double-double, also had 9 rebounds in that loss against Capital. And when you start talking about this Yellow Jackets team, Jonathan, you got to start with their senior guard from North Canton, Ohio, Anthony Mazzio. It seems like that guy has been at Baldwin Wallace forever, and he's been one of their best players in program history for a reason.
Well, as a senior, you've seen it all, and he's had his fair share of 4 years here in this program, and all his hard work has paid off. He's the leading scorer in the OAC as he leads his team, averaging 18.8 per game. So he's going to be an offensive weapon here, but he's not the only person that they have to worry about, and we've seen that when Capital faces opponents who rank in the top 5 per scoring. You got to look out for Jake Snyder. You also got to take a look at Jackson Simmons, Ashton Price. They all average 10 points or more for this team. So that's 4 of their starters averaging double-digit figures.
It's been an up-and-down season when it comes to the Yellow Jackets. They have had a tough time getting things going this season. 11-12 overall, 7-9 in OAC play to begin the conference play here this particular week. And although they have those talented scorers that you just listed off, Jonathan, taking a closer look at the numbers, Mazzio only shooting 38% from three-point land. Ashton Price only shooting 34% from beyond the arc. Jake Snyder, who traditionally has been a very good three-point shooter, he's only shooting 33% from downtown. So they're getting their points, but they haven't been able to score enough from the perimeter which would have allowed them to move up into the upper echelon of the conference this year.
I feel like every time you bring up the perimeter, that's when this team decides to forget the stat line and understand that they got the high hand, but they put up high volume shots. So we know that they're going to put shots up, and if they fall or not, that's another question. But seeing what this team is able to do late half, in the second half of the season, they've gone 2-3 as a whole here, losing the first 2 games to start off the month, but they've closed out, taking care of business against some prominent teams. They've taken care of Ohio Northern, picked up an easy win against Muskegon, but in a close one, they came off with a victory against John Carroll, 94-99, and that kind of shook up the standings here because now we know Mount Union has that #1 seeding.
And I'm sure Mount Union is going to send a very big thank you note to Baldwin Wallace for that, assuming that Mount Union is able to take care of business here today and wrap up that #1 seed in OAC play. This is Senior Day. Capital will be honoring the following seniors later on today. Ryan Roth, senior out of Findlay, Ohio. Griffin Doseck, senior forward out of Anna, Ohio. And finally, Joe Thompson, senior forward out of Galloway, Ohio. A tough break for Joe. He's a scratch today. He will not play for the Comets. Hopefully the Comets are able to get him back when OAC tournament play begins next week.
You would hope so. Just taking every precaution. This is the last year, so you kind of have those goosebumps, like you might not have another chance again. But as a senior, he does have his COVID year, but those are those decisions you got to make with your family and friends. But hopefully he's healthy and back for next week during tournament time.
We'll take a quick break. Fans continue to file in here. We ought to have a very good turnout here at the Capital Center, as today is Senior Day, the final game of the 2022-2023 regular season. It's Baldwin Wallace versus Capital, and it's coming up next here on athletics.capital.edu. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Capital Center. Today is Senior Day here in Bexley. Let's go ahead and send you down to the floor as they honor 3 seniors that have meant so much to the Capital men's basketball program.
He lists his favorite memory of the team as having the opportunity to play at Notre Dame during his freshman year. Ladies and gentlemen, number 10, Ryan Roth. Fans welcome the right seat to the floor, number 15, Griffin Doseck. During his career, Griff has been reliable on both ends of the floor, recently surpassing both the 500-point and 400-rebound milestones. Off the floor, Griffin has worked at 23 in biology, with a minor in psychology. He has twice been named an academic All-OAC recipient for his classroom award. He says his favorite memory at Capital was winning at home against Heidelberg last season. Ladies and gentlemen, number 15, Ryan Roth. Here to be recognized today, number 24, Joe Thompson. Joe has to action. His mom Lynn and his siblings Lauren and Zach. Joe's been a steady model of efficiency as he shot a career field goal percentage of 42.1%, yielding 343 career points. In the classroom, the academic All-OAC recipient has studied athletic training at Capital. Of his favorite Capital memories, Joe has the opportunity to play in front of Flyer faithful at Dayton, scoring his first in-game dunk against rival Otterbein and hitting the go-ahead bucket in this year's win over Tennessee. Ladies and gentlemen, number 24, Joe Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, please give a round of applause to these men's basketball seniors.
Well, a very well-deserved honor as Ryan Roth, Griffin Doseck, and Joe Thompson, 3 seniors on this Capital team, are honored before today's game. And hopefully the team can send them out winners in their final regular season game here at the Capital Center. Let's pause once again. In a moment, our national anthem. Our national anthem. And now we are set for basketball here at the Capital Center today alongside Jonathan Brown, who is also a senior. I'm Charlie Dana. So glad that we could have you along for the ride this afternoon. Baldwin Wallace taking on Capital. Let's get to today's starting lines, beginning with the visiting Yellow Jackets from B-Dub. At guard, the 6'2 sophomore from Bay Village, Ohio, number 0, Ashton Price. Also at guard, the 6'1 senior from Snow, Ohio, number 1, Jake Snyder. Also at guard, the 6'3 senior from North Canton, Ohio, number 3, Anthony Mazzio. At forward, the 6'5 senior from Wadsworth, Ohio, number 11, Jackson Simmons. And rounding out the starting five today for the Yellow Jackets, the 6'6 sophomore forward from Lakewood, Ohio, number 14, Zoltan Nagy. The head coach of the Yellow Jackets in his 8th year at Baldwin Wallace, Tom Heil. Now starting lineup for your Capital Comets. At guard, the 6' freshman from Ann, Ohio, number 0, McCain Finkenbein. At forward, the 6'7 sophomore from Ottoville, Ohio, number 5, Ryan Seaver. At guard, the 6'2 sophomore from Westchester, Ohio, number 13, Carter Combs. At forward, the 6'5 sophomore from Akron, Ohio, number 20, Don Magerly. And rounding out the starting five today for the Comets, the 6'5 sophomore forward from Minster, Ohio, number 42, Justin Nixon. The head coach of the Comets in his 28th year here at Capital, the legend, Damon Goodwin. For today's game, 3 seniors, Ryan Roth, Griffin Doseck, Joe Thompson, all honored before today's game. A lot of butterflies, I'm sure. Final regular season game, Jonathan, and not only do they want to send the seniors out with a win, but they want to give themselves some momentum heading to the conference tournament next week.
You said it best, Charlie. That is the key goal here today. Not just to boost morale, but show your opponent looking forward that they got something coming. So.
Tip is up, won by Baldwin Wallace. We're underway. Our officials, Danny Frank, Eric Anderson, and James Foster. Yellow Jackets begin with the basketball to begin this game. Jumper, and that swishes through for Anthony Mazzio. 18.8 points per game.
Number 1 in the conference for scoring.
Early 2-0 lead for Baldwin Wallace. Not even 30 seconds into the game. Don Magerly coming off of a nice game against Marietta. He had 14 in that loss to the Pioneers. Now it's in the hands of Combs. Inside to the big man Nixon. Swung around, Magerly from the corner. Blast! And he knocks it down. Don Magerly gets Capital on the board. A 3-2 lead early on in this game for the Comets.
Keep an eye out for Magerly. He had 14 in that loss against the Marietta, but he's got something in his bag.
And Mazzio responds with a 3 from the corner. 5-3 lead now for Baldwin Wallace.
You respond back.
Finkenbein along the left wing, pass back out to Combs. Swung around to Nixon, now in the hands of Magerly. Magerly along the right wing with 15 to shoot. Now they go inside to Nixon, back outside to Magerly on the right wing. Dom will now go inside. Nixon, a little pump fake, gets the bucket to go.
It's too easy. He's the big man. That was a great ball vision assist right there.
Nixon doing a great job of getting his man up in the air and then scoring too. Pass down the lane and blocked by Seaver as he swatted away Jackson Simmons. Capital now coming the other way. Magerly over to Nixon at the top of the arc. Now to Combs, dribbling to his left, back inside. Nixon drives in and misses the layup. That would have been pretty if he had gotten that in to the hoop that time, but alas, Capital has to turn their attention defensively. Jumper by Mazzio, who's been active offensively so far today. He misses. And now here comes Finkenbein the other way. Finkenbein swung around to Combs. Combs with the pass, but it's swatted away. Gets it back. Now back outside to Finkenbein. Blast! And McCain is able to knock it through. 8-5 lead for Capital.
Okay, then Finkenbein.
We have seen Finkenbein grow up in these last couple of games. Almost a turnover by Simmons, but he keeps the possession alive for Baldwin Wallace. Now it's to Mazzio, or actually, excuse me, Snyder. Now a long three-pointer. That rattles in and out for Simmons, and the rebound is taken by Finkenbein. Here comes McCain across half court. He'll line up a long three, and that's no good. The rebound is taken by Baldwin Wallace. Mazzio across the timeline. Now to Simmons. Simmons driving in. Hook shot. Rattles home for Jackson Simmons, senior out of Wadsworth. It's an 8-7 game in favor of Capital. 16:51 to go in the first half. Combs, Seaver. Now to Megerly. Dom down the lane, and he turned it. Oh, almost turned it over, but Seaver got the loose ball back for Capital. 9 to shoot. Back inside. Seaver's able to score.
That was a good save right there. Seaver able to save the turnover from occurring and able to make some points out of it.
Capital 10, Baldwin Wallace 7. Good back and forth between these two teams so far. Layup is good by Snyder, who was fed beautifully that time by Simmons.
That was good ball movement right there. Nixon didn't know who to go against.
10-9 now in favor of the Comets. Seaver right wing, hands off to Combs. Combs top of the arc, directing some traffic. Seaver wanting the ball, but Combs not throwing it his way. Combs still dribbling around. Forces it into Nixon. Nixon lost the handle. It's a turnover. A run-out opportunity for Mazzio. Mazzio down the other way. Couldn't make the bucket. What was fouled by Nixon. That is his first, team's first, and now Mazzio will head to the foul line.
I do love the hustle, though, shown there by Nixon, trying to go all the way down there to make a play. Just that tiredness, contact right there, but Mazzio heads to the free throw line. He is a 77% free throw shooter on the season.
And as you say that, he barely grazed front rim on his first free throw attempt. Coming in for Capital, the senior, Griffin Doseck. Meantime, a couple of substitutions for Baldwin Wallace as well. Rob Watson the third, along with Jared Logan. Watson hails from Sagamore Hills, and Jared Logan, he's from Elyria. So Mazzio is able to knock down the second free throw, and now we're tied at 10. 15:45 to go here in the first half. Winner of this game becomes the 6th seed in the OIC tournament and faces Heidelberg in the first round of the conference tournament starting next week. They'll go inside to Doseck. Didn't make the bucket, but there was a foul on the inside. And the foul will go against Mazzio. His first, team's first.
Draw some contact here. Gets Dixon to the free throw line on the season. Dixon's been shooting the ball pretty decently for a forward. 67% from the line.
Averaging 6.7 points per game as he misses the first attempt at the cherry stripe. Shot 54% from the field as well. Shot is up and no good for Doseck. He goes for Ofer. And the score remains tied at 10. Under 15 and a half to play in the first half. Snyder running around, feeds it over to Logan. Logan, he'll line up a three, and that'll rattle in and out. Rebound by Doseck.
Tried to do a little shimmy step back with that.
Combs with a nice step back. But the shot won't go, and Mazzio is able to come out with the rebound for Baldwin Wallace. Mazzio trying to drive towards the hoop. Couple head fakes, tough shot, off the mark, no good. Megerly able to come away with the rebound for Capital. Now here comes Finkenbein. He'll look to push. Trying to get inside of the big man Doseck, out of bounds, and they will give it to Capital. Substitution now for B-Dub. Luke Driscoll, 5'11 junior from Carmel, California, will check in for Baldwin Wallace. Meantime, for Capital, Iyink and Roth. Roth, a senior. He checks in for Capital. I actually have a neat little fact about Carmel, California. The one-time mayor of that town was famous Hollywood actor / director Clint Eastwood.
Wow.
Doseck, top of the arc. Jumper, good for Seaver.
That was a nice pull up into a mid-range shot right there.
Capital 12, Baldwin Wallace 10, 14 and a half to play. Driscoll to Mazzio. Mazzio top of the arc. Now a little pump fake by Price. Over to Watson the third. Now to Driscoll. 9 to shoot for Baldwin Wallace. Driscoll, tough floater. That's no good. Rebound taken by Seaver. Roth now leading the charge for Capital as he crosses half court. Swung around to Seaver. Now in the hands of Roth on the left wing. Roth surveying the defense, gets it over to Megerly at the top of the arc. Megerly looking inside, then passing off to Doseck. Doseck will dribble inside the arc with 8 to shoot. Back outside to Iyink. Iyink thought about a three. Now tries to feed it inside to Doseck. And then Seaver gets it back, and he is fouled. So a near turnover there for Capital, but now an opportunity to score some points from the free throw line.
Yeah, that was a good hustle and effort play. That foul will go on Rob Watson the third. That's his first. That's the team's second. But Seaver being at the right place at the right time pretty much.
Seaver, an 80% shooter from the foul line. Shot is up and good, as that one will rattle home. Substitutions for both teams, as Ray Ellington will check in for Baldwin Wallace, and the three-point specialist Trey Hammond going in there for Capital, shooting 45% from beyond the arc in his first season of college ball. Native of Medina. Second free throw up and good for Seaver. And so now Seaver will take a spot on the bench. Nate Gerber, who's been playing well off the bench, he comes on for Capital.
He will. Gerber has some potential here as I believe he is a junior coming off the bench.
14-10 lead for Capital. Out of bounds. They're going to say that it's going to be a foul. Thought that was going to be a turnover at one point, but so it's a foul against Doseck. That is his first, team second. It will be an inbound play for Driscoll. He'll be the trigger man, and he'll get it in successfully to Watson. Back in the hands of Driscoll on the left wing. Driscoll trying to probe the Capital defense, but instead passes back out to Price. 11 to shoot for the Yellow Jackets. Price, double teamed, trying to force up a tough shot. Does so, rattles in and out. Boy, that nearly went down, but Gerber grabs the rebound for Capital. Iyink now on the right wing. He'll go inside of the big man Doseck. Now back out to Roth. Now over to Iyink. 18 to shoot for the Comets. Hammond at the foul line, back out. Roth for three. No good. Rebound taken by Price for B-Dub. Still a 4-point lead for Capital. 14-10. 12:48 to play in the first half. Ellington back outside to Logan. Now to Price. Back to Logan. Logan driving. Kind of wild that time. And a traveling violation will be called.
That's a good call right there. Clear violation. Thought he could take up a wall right there. I love the enthusiasm.
Roth will inbound it to Iyink. And Iyink going forward is wanting to have better health. Injuries have really wrecked his season. Sophomore out of Maria Stein, Ohio. Hammond over to Roth. Roth on the left wing, passing out of it to Gerber. Back to Iyink. 11 to shoot for the Comets. Iyink now to Hammond. Hammond trying to look inside. Instead, it's still on the perimeter. 4 to shoot. 3 to shoot. Iyink hoists a three. That's off the mark. And then Gerber is called for a foul as he was battling for position with B-Dub's Ray Ellington. So Gerber hit with the foul, his first, team's third. Nixon will now check in for Capital. Meantime, for Baldwin Wallace, back in for the Yellow Jackets is Jake Snyder. A 14-10 game in favor of Capital, 12:04 to play in the first half. Capital shooting 56% from the field. Baldwin Wallace, meantime, shooting 36% from the field. Snyder over to Simmons. Back to Snyder. Dribbling to his left. Double team. Passes out of it to Simmons. Now back outside to Ellington. Ellington on the right wing. 10 to shoot for the Yellow Jackets. Over to Simmons. Simmons will pass it around. Now it's in the hands of Driscoll, and Driscoll knocks down the tough jumper.
That was a quick release. Shot clock was winding down, but able to get it to fall.
Draws Baldwin Wallace to within 2 of Capital, 14-12. 11:25 to play in the first half. Hammond to Gerber. Now inside to Nixon. Back outside. Gerber with a little pump fake. Jumper from the left point is good.
Yes, sir, the big man. Pull up, pump fake.
Capital 16, Baldwin Wallace 12. 11:05 to play in the first half. Ellington over to Watson. Now to Watson on the right wing. Simmons now passing over to Driscoll. Driscoll near the foul line. 9 to shoot for Baldwin Wallace. In the hands of Snyder now. 5 to shoot for Baldwin Wallace. They go inside to Simmons. Tough shot off the rim. No good. Roth with the rebound for Capital. Roth, right wing. Almost has his pocket picked, but saves it. Gerber for 3. No good. Rebound taken by Simmons of B-Dub.
He's improved his shot from beyond the arc, so surprisingly that one didn't fall.
Snyder losing the ball out of bounds and nearly hitting a Capital cheerleader in the process. That's a turnover for the Yellow Jackets. It'll be Capital basketball. First, some substitutions to sort out here as Anthony Mazzio will come back into the game for Capital. Also re-entering the game, or for Baldwin Wallace, excuse me. Also re-entering the game for Capital is Carter Combs. Capital 16, Baldwin Wallace 12. Approaching 10 minutes to play in the first half. Gerber to Nixon. Nixon to Dom Megerly. Megerly, left wing, inside. Gerber, floater, no good. Tap back, up and in by Nixon.
Good bounce right there from Nixon. Surrounded by 3 yellow jerseys, somehow, some way able to get the tip in.
Capital 18, Baldwin Wallace 12. 9:45 to go. Near turnover by Simmons, but he keeps it alive. Outside of Mazzio for 3. That's no good, but Simmons gets the miss for Baldwin Wallace. 15 seconds to shoot for Baldwin Wallace. Tough shot, no good. Nixon with the rebound, and then a foul called against Simmons as Nixon was basically pulled down by Jackson Simmons. That'll be his first, team's third.
That was a good call by the ref right there. Great hustle from Nixon we're seeing here.
Seaver and Finkenbein back in for Capital. Under 9.5 to play in the first half. Capital sporting an 18-12 lead over Baldwin Wallace. Finkenbein, left wing to Megerly. Now to Nixon. Nixon back out to Seaver. Seaver fakes the handoff to Finkenbein. Now they go inside to Dom Megerly. Megerly with a nice move, and he knifes in for 2 more. And now a timeout will be taken by Baldwin Wallace's Tom Heil. We'll step aside as well. 9:09 remaining in the first half. It's Capital 20, Baldwin Wallace 12 on athletics.capital.edu. .909 remaining in the first half. Capital leading Baldwin Wallace 20-12. And Jonathan, you really got to like how Capital's been moving the ball, how they've been shooting the ball. They've been looking good offensively so far.
Doing good as a whole as a team here, shooting 53% compared to Baldwin Wallace 33%. Sitting with a nice 8-point lead, and they're doing a good job on the defensive end as well. Simmons
trying to get it to Mazzio, but instead passes to Snyder. Snyder inside to Simmons, and Simmons with a power dribble, and he scores.
Able to maintain his dribble there underneath the basket.
20-14 lead now for Capital. 8:40 to play in the first half. Finkenbein flicks it over to Combs. Combs trying to drive in, feeds the big man Nixon, puts it up, and count it! Nice job by Nixon, putting it up there and got a couple of lucky bounces around that rim, and now he has a chance at an M1 opportunity.
That fella go against Zoltan Nagy, but Nixon, the big man, feed the big man his first free throw attempt of this afternoon, and that is the big man's kryptonite right there, as that one was nothing but net.
So now Nagy with the foul for Baldwin Wallace. That's the 4th team foul on Baldwin Wallace's half. 22-14 lead for Capital. A 22 to play in the first half. In the hands of Mazzio. Mazzio got off to that fast start offensively, but since then it's kind of cooled off. Snyder being picked up defensively by Finkenbein. Now it's back to Mazzio with 5 to shoot. Mazzio now gives it off to Driscoll. Driscoll dribbling along baseline, And Baldwin Wallace not able to get a shot off in time. That's a shot clock violation. Great defense by Capital.
That was great defense right there. Able to make it difficult for Baldwin Wallace to find the shot, and they were unable to get one off before the shot clock went off.
So now Ashton Price, the sophomore from Bay Village, Ohio, he'll come on for a frustrated Luke Driscoll, who will take a seat on the bench. 22-14 lead for Capital, under 8 to play in the first half. Combs inside to Magerle. Dom, step back jumper, knocks it down. That's a move that Kobe Bryant would have been proud of.
That's a smooth man right there.
Plus he had the leg up a little bit too, Dirk Nowitzki style. I like it. 10-point lead for Capital. Simmons. And a traveling violation will be called against the Yellow Jackets. I'm seeing frustration from Baldwin Wallace, and I'm seeing joy from Capital on both sides of the ball.
Hey, we're in our house.
And just in time for senior day as well. Things looking pretty good for the purple and white, but still plenty of basketball left to be played. 7:20 to play in the first half. Capital with a 24-14 lead over the Yellow Jackets. Seaver on the right wing. Now he gets a good feed. Oh, can't finish the layup, but a beautiful feed that time from Finkenbein. Here comes Baldwin Wallace the other way. Now a three-pointer by Snyder. Rattles in and out. Offensive board dug out by Nagy. Fresh shot clock for the Yellow Jackets. 15 to shoot for B-Dub. Simmons hands off to Mazzio. Mazzio almost has his pocket picked. 6 to shoot for the Yellow Jackets now. Magerle guarding Mazzio. One shot. Second.
That's a block party right there by Dom.
And that is a shot clock violation as well. The second shot clock violation for this Baldwin Wallace offense. Great defense by Dom.
That was phenomenal defense by number 20, Dom Magerle, even tipping the ball, blocking it, whatever. It was just great defensive presence from Capital that we're seeing here in these back-to-back possessions. And let's see if they can make something out of this on the offensive end.
Baldwin Wallace shooting only 33% from the field as a team, and they've only gone 1 of 5 from downtown. Good for only 20% from three-point land, as an offensive foul is now going to be called against Capital. It'll go against Seaver. That's his first personal, team's fourth. And now Doseck will check in as Nixon will get a breather on the bench. 6:29 to go. 24-14 lead for Capital. Snyder brings it across half court. Now it's Nagy, now to Mazzio, and Mazzio drives in and got blocked by Dom. Magerle with a great defensive play right there. Combs has his pocket picked. And now there's another loose ball. Combs comes away with it. Three-pointer, no good. Rebound, out of bounds, and they will say that it will go to Capital. Went off of the hands of Ray Ellington, who was trying to secure it for the Yellow Jackets.
We just saw a great transition block, followed by a mishap turnover, and now back into the hands of Capital. We'll see what they can do with this.
Dom getting a nice hand from the crowd as he'll take a seat on the bench. Trey Hammond checks in for him for Capital. Also Alex Iank back in for the Comets, as McCain Finkenbein will get some rest. 6:04 remaining in the first half. Capital 24, Baldwin Wallace 14. Hammond to Combs. Combs over to Iank, to Hammond, now inside to Seaver. Seaver trying to back his man down, back outside. Doseck for three. That's no good. Rebound taken by Mazzio. Baldwin Wallace coming the other way. Mazzio has it poked away that time by Combs, out of bounds. It will stay with the Yellow Jackets. Another substitution for Capital. Nate Gerber will allow Seaver to get a breather here. And now Snyder will inbound it from the far side. He'll get it in to Mazzio. Mazzio out towards the Capital logo. Guarded by Iank. Now a wide open three for Ellington. That's no good. Rebound taken by Gerber. And boy, the Yellow Jackets continue to struggle from deep.
Yeah, they haven't found the shot here in the last three minutes.
Combs inside. Gerber, power dribble, puts it up and in.
Big
and
man.
Another timeout taken by the Yellow Jackets.
Feed the big man.
This will be, looks like a full timeout, so we'll take a break. 5:13 remaining in the first half. Capital 26, Baldwin Wallace 14 on athletics.capital.edu. .5:13 left to play in the first half. Capital 26, Baldwin Wallace 14. All you really have to do is take a look at the team statistics. Capital shooting 52% from the field, Baldwin Wallace 30%. Neither team has really done all that well from three-point land, but the bottom line is Capital's been able to make more shots than Baldwin Wallace.
Yeah, they've just been able to put some shots up, and they're following. They're doing a good job on the defensive end as well, and that's a key contributor to them able to get these shots to fall.
Drive on the inside by Ellington. Tough shot. Another tip. That's no good. Gerber secures the rebound for Capital. Roth over to Gerber. To Iank. Now inside to Doseck. Doseck called for a charge, and I don't know if I agree with that call or not. A little acting job by Mazzio.
What you said, the Oscars are later this month. Trying to get a late award, but
Doseck with his second, team's fifth. So Doseck will take a seat. Nixon back in for Capital. 26-14 in favor of the Comets. 4:45 remaining in the first half. Price. Over to Snyder. Jumper no good. Rebound taken by Iank. Iank quickly up the floor. Iank off the glass. That's no good. Wild shot. Rebound taken by Rob Watson. Here comes Mazzio the other way.
That's a deep three.
And that's a made three by Ray Ellington.
Wow.
That's Steph Curry range right there. 26-17.
Ray Ellington only shoots 30% from behind the arc.
Yeah, forget the last name, Ellington. He shot that like he was Ray Allen. 26-17. 4:04 to play in the first half. Capital still with a 9-point lead. Gerber back outside. Roth for three. No good. Hammond, rebound, putback is good.
It's a good man right there by Hammond. Hammond is an X factor. I think he's just underrated right now, coming in as a freshman. You've seen him. He ranks number 3 in OAC three-point percentage.
Capital fans should be very excited about what he'll bring to the table the next few years. There's a three-pointer switched through by Ellington, and he's starting to heat up a little bit.
Yeah, I think you were right. Ray Allen, that's back-to-back threes for Ellington.
28-20 now. Capital with an 8-point lead as we tick under 3.5 to play in the first half. Roth, left wing. Over to Hammond. Hammond to Roth. 9 to shoot for Capital. Gerber looking around to Iank. Iank with 3 to shoot. 2 to shoot. Iank forces up a shot. Oh, almost rattled in and out, but instead it's a rebound for Baldwin Wallace. And Mazzio will get hit by Iank. That'll be his first, team 6. Finkenbein and Magerle back in for Capital. Hammond, meanwhile, will check out. Also, Seaver and Combs coming back in. So Roth will come out. Iank will come out. Capital still working with an 8-point lead as we tick under 3 minutes to play in the first half. Ashton Price driving towards the hoop, and he got hit.
That's a late call right there, but we'll take it.
So the foul will go against, they'll give it to Combs.
That's good. That's good.
We'll keep Nixon out of foul trouble, at least for the time being. 17 foul on Capital. For Combs, that's his first. And now Ashton Price, one of the best free throw shooters in the OAC, knocks it through 87% on the season. That's pretty good. Averaging 14.6 points per game, a sophomore out of Bay Village, Ohio.
It's not too shabby. He shoots close to 50% on the regular season, 80% from the free throw line, and 35 from behind the arc. Those are some pretty good numbers.
Second free throw good for Price. And now all of a sudden this lead has been whittled down to 6 for Capital. Combs inside to Seaver. Seaver backing Price down off the glass, no good. And then Watson saved it into Seaver and he puts it in.
That's a good assist. We'll take that. Thank you, Watson.
Sometimes you need lucky bounces, and Capital got one right there. Or a lucky pass, I should say. Snyder inside and an easy slam for Rob Watson III, junior out of Sagamore Hills, Ohio.
Well, he got his get back.
30-24 now for Capital. 2 minutes to go in what has been a spirited first half between both these teams. Magerle to Nixon. Now in the hands of Combs. Combs right wing. Gets a screen from Nixon. And a moving screen is going to be called against Nixon. That's going to draw the ire of Capital head coach Damon Goodwin. More importantly, that's the second team foul, or second personal foul on Nixon. 18 foul on Capital, so now foul trouble for both Doseck and Nixon going forward.
Yeah, 2 fouls, but I think coach is going to, no, he pulled Nixon. So that leaves Seaver in as the big man down low, and Nixon.
30-24 lead for Capital. Price, left wing, trying to dribble in against Combs. Little pump fake, gets it to Watson, who lost it. Then he gets it back, and then he puts it back in.
And Coach Howell looking for a foul call there. That was a good strength right there by Watson.
Great hustle by Rob Watson III. And a foul is going to be called, looks like against Watson. That'll be his second. Team's fifth. And now a substitution for Baldwin Wallace. Now Zoltan Nagy is getting set to check back in, but a timeout is going to be taken here by Capital. This will only be a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep things here at the Capital Center. Minute 20 remaining in the first half. After leading by as much as 10 points, now this lead is down to 4, 30-26. What's the strategy going forward?
Still holding on to a good lead. Capital is doing a good job defensively, still maintaining. Looking forward with 120 left to go in here. You want to lean more on your defensive end. You don't have to force up any shots here. You can kind of just draw out the rest of the shot clock here. If you have a good shot, go ahead and take it on the offensive end for Capital. They're doing a good job moving the ball around. Yeah, can't complain. They're holding in this one right here, but you want to go into halftime maintaining to this lead here.
Leading scorer for Baldwin Wallace. That's a tie between Mazzio and Ellington, who both have 6. Meantime, for Capital, they're being paced offensively by Seaver, who's got 8 points so far. Out of bounds. A turnover for Capital. And Baldwin Wallace will get the ball back here with 1:13 remaining in the half. Good defensive play there by Ashton Price.
Baldwin Wallace looking to try to gain some momentum going into halftime here.
Snyder will bring it across half court. Just about a minute remaining in the first half. Three-pointer on the way, and it's knocked down by Ray Ellington. That's his third three-pointer in as many minutes, and now Baldwin Wallace down by only 1.
3 or 4, and that is not what you wanted to happen for Capital.
Combs to Seaver. Now to Dom. Magerle on the left wing. Trying to put a move on his man. Gets the ball back. Jumper. No good. Rebound taken by Baldwin Wallace. So now Snyder will bring it across half court. And now Baldwin Wallace with a chance to take the lead here before the end of the half. 25 seconds on the game clock. 15 seconds on the shot clock. So about a 5-second differential between shot clock and game clock here. Snyder still dribbling near half court. 6 to shoot, 5 to shoot, 4 to shoot. Deep three for Ellington. No good. And now Magerle trying to get the rebound, but instead a foul is going to be called against Ryan Seaver. So for Seaver, that's his second. Team's 9th. This is going to result in free throws for Baldwin Wallace. The 1-and-1 situation upcoming here as Zoltan Nagy's getting set to head of the foul line. Mazzio checks out. Driscoll is in for Baldwin Wallace. Gerber will come in for Capital. Now, it has been a big-time struggle at the foul line this season for Nagy. 29%.
That's a big man's kryptonite right here, so hopefully Capital can get some luck here.
His first shot, no good. Seaver with the rebound. Combs looking to push. 1 second. And Combs can't even get the shot off on time. That is how the first half will end. So a close ball game at the half. It's Capital 30, Baldwin Wallace 29. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll take a look at scores around the OAC, get you caught up on some action involving top 25 teams at the Division I level, and examine the stats from the first half. Again, at the half, it's Capital 30, Baldwin Wallace 29, here on athletics.capital.edu. Halftime here at the Capital Center. The score, Capital 30, Baldwin Wallace 29. A close game between the Comets and the Yellow Jackets so far. Let's go ahead and get you updated with scores around the OAC, and we begin with a game that has a surprising score. If you go off of the standings, 2:43 left in the first half. It is Wilmington leading John Carroll 46-37. Wilmington being paced by Dominic Farley offensively. He's got 11 points, 4 of 5 from the field, 3 of 4 from three-point land. Luke Ciccone, meantime, leading John Carroll in that one in points. He's got 12 for the Blue Streaks.
Maybe the head coach is giving his players a rest here. They do have the number 2 seed secure, but you never want to count it out. The first half may be over, but you still got the second half left.
A game that's gone to halftime, meantime. Heidelberg leading Marietta 43-31. Heidelberg's been getting a good game offensively today from their forward, Brady Bosma. He's got 14. Marietta, meantime, they are being led offensively by David Sanford, who's got 9 points in that game so far for the Pioneers. Heidelberg, the team that the winner of this game between Capital and Baldwin Wallace would face in the OAC tournament coming up next week. Another game that's at the half. Mount Union leading Otterbein 45-31. Mount Union has been a top 5, top 10 team nationally. They've had a heck of a season up there in Alliance, Ohio. The guy leading the way for Mount Union, guess who? Daryl Newsom, I think a strong candidate for OAC Player of the Year.
Yep, definitely want to keep him in your list and check him out.
Meantime, for Otterbein, Dallas Patrick's the one who's leading them in scoring. He has got 8 points. And then finally, let's see here. Finally, Ohio Northern leading Muskingum 33-21. That game is at the half as well, as the Polar Bears are looking to get another win here before the start of OAC tournament play. So those are scores around the OAC. Meantime, it's February, which means that March Madness, before you know it, is going to be right around the corner. And boy, there has just been so much turnover when it comes to teams in the AP Top 25. There really hasn't been a clear-cut number 1 team that has really stood out from the pack. But again, can't wait for March Madness. It's always a treat to see all those teams make the field. Here are some ball games that are currently in progress. 10th ranked Tennessee is having problems with unranked Kentucky, a traditional power that a lot of people have on the bubble at the moment. Kentucky leading Tennessee in that one 57-48. 55 seconds to go in the first half at Texas. The 6th-ranked Longhorns lead Oklahoma in that one 34-32. Keeping it in the Big 12, 3:56 left to go in the first half. 12th-ranked Kansas State. They're hosting Iowa State. The Wildcats trailing the 19th-ranked Cyclones 24-17. 30 seconds to go in the first half at Miami. The 15th-ranked Hurricanes lead Wake Forest 47-42. And 22nd-ranked Texas Christian leading Oklahoma State 33-24, 3:41 to go in the first half. A couple of finals from earlier today. 7th-ranked Virginia just gets by Notre Dame 57-55. 14th-ranked Indiana triumphant over Illinois 71-68. And 20th, Connecticut gets the win over Seton Hall 64-55. Well, Jonathan, I know that we still have a month to go until we get to March Madness, but has there been one team that's really stood out to you?
Because of how, the number 1 seed always changes, but there's been one team that I think has been dominant throughout the entire time, and I'm going to head down south, and I'm going to stay in the American Athletic Conference, and I got to shout out University of Houston. They are currently sitting at the number 2 in seeding right now, going 24-2. Only coming to a loss against number 8 Alabama and an unranked Temple, but I don't want people to hark on their schedule, but when it came against a number top 5, top 2 opponent, they are able to get the victory over Virginia, and they got cruise sailing the rest of the way here, and I think they'll see pretty well to get that advantage for seeding when it comes to March.
One team that's really stood out to me as I head to Big Ten country, how about the Purdue Boilermakers? 23-2 overall. I know that they've kind of hit like a little bit of a rough patch, but they've been consistently a top 10, top 5 team. They've held on to the number 1 spot for a couple weeks this season. They're led by their all-world center, Zach Edey, who's been averaging 22 points and about 13 rebounds a game. You talk about Michigan State. You talk about Indiana as some of those Big Ten teams that have had great teams over the years that have won national championships. Purdue's had some pretty good basketball teams over the years, but they've never quite been able to get that national championship. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the year that they can make a run to the Final Four.
Maybe. But I know Purdue definitely it does have some upsets in their brackets, so definitely be on the lookout for that.
Either way, it should be a very, very fun March Madness. Again, we're only in the middle of February, but the tournament is right around the corner, and that is always fun to watch every single season. Let's now take a look at the stats from our game. Again, it is Capital leading Baldwin Wallace 30-29 at the break. Here are the team statistics. Capital shooting 46% from the field as opposed to 39% for Baldwin Wallace. Neither team has really done a good job shooting the three ball. Baldwin Wallace 4 of 11 from downtown, good for 36%. Capital 2 of 10, only 20%. Free throws, Baldwin Wallace 3 of 5, that's 60%. Capital 2 of 5, that is 40%. Capital has been able to control the rebounding battle for the most part, 17-14 in favor of the Comets. Other team statistics of note: assists, Baldwin Wallace 6, Capital 5. Turnovers, Baldwin Wallace 6, Capital 5. Bench points, Baldwin Wallace 15, Capital 6. Blocks, Capital 3. Baldwin Wallace has yet to register a block in this game. Not a lot of fast break points. Capital 2, Baldwin Wallace 1. Each team has a steal. Each team has 6 points off of turnovers. Points in the paint, Capital double of Baldwin Wallace, 16-8, and second chance points 4-0 in favor of the Comets. Now on to the individual statistics. Here's Jonathan.
Last time these two teams played, Capital was able to get a victory on Baldwin Wallace's home court. And now with the tables turned here, they're playing for something more, playing for seeding here. Starting off with Baldwin Wallace, the leading scorer, averaging 18.8 per game, only being held to 6 points. And the last time they played, I want to point out, he finished the game with 4 points. The Yellow Jackets' leading scorer actually is none other than Ray Ellington. This man had the hot hand from behind the arc, shooting deep like Ray Allen. He was 3 of 5 from behind the arc. He's the leading scorer with 9 points. Anthony Mazzio has 6 right behind him, and then there's a few collective players who have 4 points and 2 points here and there, but nobody's really taken off just yet for the Yellow Jackets. Their leading rebounder goes to none other than Zoltan Nagy. He leads the way with 4. Right behind him, Mazzio has 3. Assist ball, they're doing a good job of spreading the ball around. Jake Snyder has 3 assists from his perspective. Taking a look at Capital, the leading scorer goes to none other than Ryan Seaver, going 3 of 5 from the field. He's been at the right place at the right time and has been able to get shots to fall in his general direction. Right behind him, Dominic Megerly with 7 points of his own, 3 of 4 from the field. 1 3 made. Hopefully we see some more as he goes deeper in his bag. Hoping to stay out of foul trouble, Justin Nixon has 6 points of his own to feed the big man as he leads the team with 3 rebounds. Right behind him, coming off the bench, Nate Gerber also has 3 of his own. Counting out the leading assister for Capital, Carter Combs, and with 2 blocks. He's had a nice block party back-to-back. Dom Megerly leading the way with 2.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have the start of the second half. It's been a good one so far between Capital and Baldwin Wallace. The Comets leading the Yellow Jackets 30-29 coming out of halftime. This is Comets men's basketball on athletics.capital.edu. Welcome back to the Capital Center. Getting set for second half action here on Senior Day. Final game of the 2022-2023 regular season. Alongside Jonathan Brown, I'm Charlie Danis. Capital leading 30-29 coming out of halftime, and now the second half is underway. Finkenbein will bring it across half court, being guarded closely by Jake Snyder. To Dom Magerle. Now in the hands of Nixon. Combs on the right wing. Gets it over to Magerle. Dom driving in off the glass and in. Nice move by Dom.
Phenomenal pump fake right there.
He's now got 9 points. Puts Capital up by 3 to begin play early on here in the second half. Snyder will go inside to Nagy. Nagy trying to back and no look past that time. That almost was a turnover. And then Price, he'll flip it up. No good, but he did get fouled on the play. So the foul will go against Carter Combs. That's his second, team's first of the half.
So we know that this game is more than just a regular game here. They're playing for seeding here. That the winner of this game is going to be locked into the 6th seed. And it's kind of surprising, or I guess funny, that last year the team who they'll be playing with, they get the 6th seed, was Heidelberg Capital. They played Heidelberg last year in the tournament, so hopefully they can get another taste of revenge here.
In the meantime, Price is able to knock down both of his free throws. That brings Baldwin Wallace to within 1. A 32-31 lead for Capital here, as we are just a minute into the second half. Nixon trying to save it in, but he lost it out of bounds, and that's a turnover for Capital.
Love the hustle from Nixon.
Nixon with some foul trouble in that first half. Finished the first half with 6-point shot, 3 of 4 from the field. Snyder across the timeline, up to the right wing. Gets a little screen, still dribbling around inside and stolen away by Nixon. So here comes Combs the other way. Over to Finkenbein. McCain, top of the arc. Over to Seaver, who had himself a good first half, along with Magerle. Dom dribbling around, inside, wraparound pass, didn't get the Seaver. And then a turnover. It was with Baldwin Wallace, but then a traveling violation called against Nagy because he fell down. And so now Capital will get possession here. Fresh shot clock, 20 seconds to work with for the Comets. Finkenbein will inbound it from the baseline. Gets it into Nixon. Bounced over to Magerle. Dom surveying the defense from the left wing. Now over to Finkenbein, who might have thought about a 3, but said pulls back. To Seaver. Now to Magerle. 8 seconds to shoot. Seaver for 3. No good. Tipped around. Nixon grabs the offensive board for Capital. He'll now try to dribble inside. And that shot's no good as Simmons grabs the board for B-Dub. Snyder, double team, passes out of it. Simmons almost lost it but recovers. Now to Mazzio. Mazzio, jumper, no good. And Simmons grabs the offensive board, puts it back up and in. And now Baldwin Wallace back on top, 33-32. Inside, Nixon, nice pump fake, and he finishes with the right hand.
And that's how you respond. Doing what's worked best, feed the big man down low.
Capital 34, Baldwin Wallace 33, 17-27 to play in the second half. Price for 3, off the mark, no good. Rebound, it'll go out of bounds. They'll give it to Capital. As now substitutions will be made by Baldwin Wallace. Rob Watson III and Jared Logan will come in. 2 experienced big men for the Jackets. Finkenbein into Seaver. Now it's back to Finkenbein. McCain Finkenbein, the freshman from Ann, Ohio. He's been pressed into duty at the point guard position due to some roster changes made recently. Seaver, top of the arc. Back to Finkenbein. 10 to shoot. Finkenbein dribbling around. Nice spin move. Jumper in the lane and it rattles home. That was a nice move by McCain.
That was a good job right there. Able to find a way to get to the basket.
36-33. Capital with the lead, and then a layup made at the other end by Rob Watson III.
That's a good reverse right there by Watson. Still perfect in this game, 3 of 3.
36-35. 16:35 remaining in the second half. Think about it, a feed inside to Seaver, who got bumped, but no call. Nixon, meantime, with the ball back out to Magerle. Now they go back inside of the big man Nixon. A feed. Dom has a shot blocked away by Mazzio. It'll still be Capital ball. 8 seconds to work with on the shot clock, and now Doseck will check in for Capital.
You thought you had one, and then that was just a good defensive reaction from Mazzio.
Finkenbein, the trigger man, trying to get it to Doseck, but it never got to him. Out of bounds, they give it to Baldwin Wallace. And now Iank will check in for Capital. It's a 1-point game, very reminiscent of the first game between both of these teams. Remember, it was McCain Finkenbein who hit an and one with 18 seconds to go in regulation, and then Capital was able to hold on for the 2-point victory. Snyder, crazy layup, able to get that to go. That was a circus shot.
That was indeed.
So Baldwin Wallace now back up by 1, 37-36, a little over 16 minutes to play in the second half. Magerle to the hoop, and he can't get it to go, but the putback is good for Doseck.
That's a good job by Doseck staying down low. You get a second chance opportunity.
Capital by 1, 38-37. Price dribbling around, back out to Watson. Now to Logan. Back over now to Snyder. They'll go inside to Logan, the big man. He lost it out of bounds. There he will give it to Capital. Doseck will now inbound it to Iank. And Iank will take his time, dribbling up the floor. 15.5 to play. Capital 38, Baldwin Wallace 37. Magerle to Seaver. Seaver near the top of the arc to Doseck. He'll try a three. And he'll knock it down. Griffin Doseck.
You can't stand the rain.
Griffin Doseck hasn't had a lot of success from three-point land, but he's able to make that shot go down. That's a big one right there, 41-37. Mazzio can't get it to go. Here comes Combs. Combs ahead to Iank. Tried to bounce it over to Seaver, but it never got to him. Here comes Baldwin Wallace the other way. It's Price. Lays it up and in.
Good back and forth matchup right here. Now we're seeing both teams kind of hit one, block one, respond back and forth, and I'm loving it.
This game has had a good flow to it. Capital 41, Baldwin Wallace 39. 14:38 to play in the second half. Seaver to Magerle. 13 to shoot for the Comets. Dom gets a screen. Dom will try a jumper from the right point, and that's way off the mark. No good. Rebound, Baldwin Wallace. Mazzio across half court, bouncing it ahead to Price. Price can't get the bucket to go, but he was fouled by Seaver. That's now Seaver's third personal, team second, and free throws upcoming here for the Yellow Jackets. And now looks like a timeout will be taken. A full timeout by the Yellow Jackets. We'll step aside. 14:20 to play in the second half. It's Capital 41, Baldwin Wallace 39 on athletics.capital.edu. 14:20 left to play here in the second half. And boy, we got ourselves a good back and forth affair between Capital and Baldwin Wallace. It's the Comets that lead the Yellow Jackets 41-39, and stepping up to the free throw line, one of the best free throw shooters in the OAC, Ashton Price, 87% shooter. Shot is up and no good. He'll have one more chance at the charity stripe.
Surprising, he's the second leading scorer from the free throw line. Right in front of him, Frazier from John Carroll with 0.5% better free throw shooter.
What a season, by the way, Frazier has had for John Carroll. Big reason why the Blue Streaks have had a great season to this point. 41-40 in favor of Capital. 14-12 left to play in the second half. Gerber is in for Capital as well as Ryan Roth. Doseck to Hammond. Now to Gerber. Gerber to Roth. Roth back to Gerber. Gerber trying to dribble in, and he turns it over. A steal by Snyder. Now it's in the hands of Mazzio. Baldwin Wallace with a chance to go back on top. And Mazzio gets hit along the baseline right there. That's a foul. And it's go against Alex Iank. That's his second, team's third. So now Snyder will inbound it for Baldwin Wallace. He'll be the trigger man along the baseline. He'll get it in successfully to Watson. To Price. Price left wing, swung around to Snyder. Now they go inside to the big man Logan. Logan with a couple of power dribbles. Jumper is good. Baldwin Wallace back up by one.
That's a good shot.
42-41 in favor of B-Dub. 13-26 remaining in the second half. Doseck dribbles to his left, now in the hands of Roth. Roth bouncing it inside to Gerber, now inside to Doseck. Doseck has it blocked away, but then a foul called. This will go against Rob Watson the third. This will be his third. Team's first of the half, and now Doseck heads to the foul line. 67% shooter from the charity stripe this season.
This is his second attempt.
First shot is up and good. So now we're tied. Finkenbein checks back in for Capital, and back in for Baldwin Wallace, Simmons, and Ellington. Ellington, big-time reason why the Yellow Jackets were able to get back into this game because of all those three-pointers he made towards the end of the first half.
Weren't you talking about that three-point percentage before the game? Gotta watch out. Gotta watch out.
Ellington was only shooting 30% from three-point land heading into play today. On any given day, I guess. Meantime, Capital regains the lead thanks to those free throws by Doseck, 43-42. Doseck with the ball, but then he turns it right back over to Price. Snyder thought about a three. Pass inside to Duran. Or Logan, excuse me. And Logan shot. No good. Rebound taken by Doseck. Finkenbein. Head to Gerber. Gerber steps into a three. Bullseye! Capital 46. Baldwin Wallace 42. Approaching 12 and a half to play in the first half. Simmons drives in, and he'll score.
I like this back and forth here. You feel some energy. It's going to take momentum.
Capital 46, Baldwin Wallace 44. 12:20 to play in the second half. Hammond to Roth. Roth gets a screen from Doseck. Dribbling towards the corner. Now over to Gerber. Inside to Doseck. Doseck with some room to operate. To Hammond. Three. No good. Gerber with the offensive board. And Gerber then gets fouled.
It's a good foul call. They didn't call it a jump ball.
And the foul will go against Jackson Simmons. His second, team second of the half. Remains a 2-point lead for Capital with a little over 12 minutes to play in the second half. Gerber with a little pump fake, but then passing off to Hammond. Now back to Gerber. Gerber top of the arc. He'll hand off to Roth. 12 to shoot for the Comets. Finkenbein trying to find some space. He'll launch a three. And it's in!
Nice. Flash.
That hit off the back iron and then somehow found its way to the bottom of the hoop. Sometimes you need a lucky bounce. Capital will definitely take it. 49-44, Comets with the lead. Price out to Simmons for three. No good. Battle for the ball. Baldwin Wallace comes away with it. Saved. Snyder inside. Can't get that one to go. Price, offensive board. He'll put up a shot. That's no good. Rebound taken by Hammond. Here comes Trey the other way. He'll slow things up. And now Capital will work within the half court. 49-44. Comets with the lead. 11:28 to go. And then an offensive foul is called. Nate Gerber can't believe it. He thought that he was pushed, but instead the offensive foul will go against Gerber. That's his second personal, team's fourth. And Damon Goodwin trying to plead his case right there.
But then they were talking about the shot clock. Clarification with the shot clock, so we'll see what the refs are deliberating here.
They're doing a little bit of a scramble job along the scoreboard. Oh no, I think somebody spilled their drink. I think that's what they're cleaning up right now. So while we have a brief pause in the action here, 11:28 to go in the second half. Capital 49, Baldwin Wallace 44. Well, as I keep mentioning, spirited battle between both these teams. Baldwin Wallace, I think, coming out with a lot of fury, but seems like Capital always has that response. Nice layup here, or a three-pointer there.
We're liking that both teams are going back and forth here. Capital is actually 3 of 4 for their last shots, 4 shots, while Baldwin Wallace is 1 of 5. So I like this back and forth matchup. Capital sitting nice with a 5-point lead. Now we'll see if they can continue to expand on that, or they'll just sit atop easily. But they're doing a good job defensively, going back and forth. If they're able to find a stance, or either on the momentum side for offense or defense, whichever one they can get the pendulum swinging in their direction, then I think Capital can pull this one away.
Ellington, the leading scorer for Baldwin Wallace. He's got 9. Meantime, think about the balanced scoring that Capital has had offensively. 8 points each for Seaver, Nixon, and Finkenbein, and also 9 points for Dom Magerly. Boy, there could be a host of Capital players entering double figures here pretty soon.
I have not seen that often, but we're loving it.
Snyder brings it across half court. 49-44 lead for Capital. 11:21 to go in the second half. A drive inside by Logan. Somehow he gets it over to Simmons. Simmons, tough shot, tipped around. Roth grabs the rebound for Capital. Roth will pass out of a double team to Doseck, who will then hit a streaking Finkenbein. McCain will now dribble out, try to get it to Roth, off the hands of Snyder, so Capital will keep possession here. So now Finkenbein will inbound it from the far side. Gets it into Roth. Roth making the catch, dribbles to his right to the right wing. Now to Gerber. Gerber dribbling inside against Simmons, trying to back Simmons down near the left block. Gerber twisting, turning, puts the shot up, didn't get it to go, but a foul called. It will go against Jackson Simmons, his third, team's third.
Gerber has an opportunity to get some points here at the free throw line. This will be his first attempts of the game.
Gerber's shot up and good. Nate on the season, 63% from the free throw line. Baldwin Wallace, meanwhile, with a couple of substitutions. Checking in for the Yellow Jackets, Mazzio, along with Nagy. And Don Magerly will come back in as well, as Trey Hammond will take a seat on the bench. Magerly working with 9 points, has shot 4 of 8 from the field and 1 of 1 from three-point land. Gerber's shot is up and good. 51-44. Capital with the lead, 10:48 to play in the second half. Snyder up ahead to Ellington for 3, no good, and a rebound by Baldwin Wallace. Snyder's put back no good, but another put back good for Nagy. 51-46. Under 10.5 to play in the second half. Finkenbein passing over to Gerber. Nate will try a 3. Splash! And he'll knock it down. Nate Gerber with a big shot there. Increases the Capital lead to 8. 54-46. 10:09 left to go. Ellington, spin move. Can't get it to go. Tipped around, Roth with the rebound. Up ahead. And made bucket that time by Griffin Doseck.
Loving the momentum here from Capital.
Snyder, or actually back outside to Ellington for three. And he'll continue his hot streak from the first half. Keeps Baldwin Wallace within striking distance. 56-49. 9:39 to play. And now Finkenbein will slow things up here a bit. Gerber handing off to Roth. Roth to Doseck. 17 to shoot for the Comets. Magerle, left wing, inside to Gerber. Gerber with 9 to shoot. Now to Roth. 7 to shoot. Gerber with 5 to shoot. Long jumper. Gerber gets it to go. Nate Gerber is feeling it right now. 9-point lead for Capital as we approach 9 minutes to play. Loose ball. Snyder gets it back for Baldwin Wallace. Mazzio for three. Mazzio knocks it down. 58-52. Capital still with the lead. This game is far from over. 8:48 to go.
Baldwin Wallace is not going away easily.
Finkenbein, right wing, picked up defensively by Snyder. Now to Magerle. Dom trying to go down the lane. Can't get the bucket to go, but he got fouled. The foul will go against Mazzio. His second. Team's fourth. So Dom will now head to the foul line. By the way, that late spurt by Gerber now got 14 points.
Off the bench.
Magerle, meantime, trying to become the second Capital player to go into double figures. But first, a little bit of a conference between a couple of our officials. How everything seems to be squared away. Magerle's shot is up, and that's no good.
This is Magerle's first attempts at the free throw line in this game. On the season, 60% from the line.
Gerber and Doseck and Roth will all head to the bench. Seaver and Combs back out there for Capital along with Nixon. Second free throw attempt for Magerle is up and good. Give Dom Magerle 10 points. Capital now has two double-digit scorers on the day. Gerber with 14, Magerle with 10. 59-52 lead for Baldwin Wallace, 8:25 to go. Driscoll twisting and turning, finally passing to Nagy, to Mazzeo, back to Nagy, now to Ellington. Ellington trying to probe the defense, but a pass back outside to Snyder for three, rattles in and out. Nixon grabs the board for Capital. Damon Goodwin putting the stop sign up. He's wanting his team to work the clock a little bit, work in the half court. They hold a 59-52 lead with just under 8 minutes to play in regulation. Nixon outside to Seaver. 8 seconds to shoot. Combs inside. Seaver makes the catch, gets it blocked away. And Snyder comes away with the loose ball for the Yellow Jackets. Mazzio for three. That's no good. Dom Magerle with an outstanding rebound. Man, he really had the sky for that one.
Went up there and got it. And Coach Goodwin telling his team to slow things down here. No rush.
Capital 59, Baldwin Wallace 52. 7:21 to play in the second half. Finkenbein, top of the arc, over to Combs on the right wing, to Seaver. Now in the hands of Magerle, to Combs. Combs dribbling to his left. Tried to feed it inside to Dom, but it never got to him. Another turnover for Capital. Up ahead is Driscoll. Driscoll's layup, no good. Rebound taken by Finkenbein, and Finkenbein gets hit. A foul will go against Baldwin Wallace's Luke Driscoll. That's his first, team's fifth. And now back in for Baldwin Wallace will be Rob Watson III. And now a timeout. It's going to be taken by Capital. We'll take one right along with them. 7 minutes to play in the second half. Capital 59, Baldwin Wallace 52 on athletics.capital.edu. 7 minutes left to go in regulation. Capital leading Baldwin Wallace 59-52 in the regular season finale here on Senior Day. Winner of this game will be locked in as the number 6 seed and will play Heidelberg to begin play in the OAC tournament coming up next week. Finkenbein across half court. Over to Magerle. Dom on the left wing. Inside to Gerber. Gerber, he's had the hot hand as of late. Turnaround jumper, no good. Gerber gets his own miss and puts it back up and in.
Like that. Right place at the right
16
time.
points for Gerber. He has been huge today off the bench for Capital. Ellington for 3. No good. Combs with the rebound for Capital. He'll drop it off for Finkenbein. Almost a turnover there, but Combs is able to receive the pass from Finkenbein. McCain passing over to Nixon. Nixon to Dom. Dom, little crossover. Reverse layup is good. Look at Dom. And a turnover as Combs is able to come away with the loose ball, and they'll give a timeout to Capital, and the crowd erupts after seeing that example of hustle right there by Luke Combs. Love the passion being exhibited by Capital today.
Capital bringing some energy here this late. Love the end hustle play from Carter Combs to get that steal. Caught in the timeout before Baldwin Wallace could hop on top of him and get the jump ball. But going back to the previous play, Don Megerle in his bag in between on the baseline and able to get the reverse finish. This is a 9-point lead for Capital. I believe their biggest lead of the matchup so far, and it's looking pretty good as we're sitting with about 6 minutes left to go.
Magerle now with 12 points to go along with Gerber's 16 as well. You got Doseck, who's got 9. You got Finkenbein, who's got 8. Nixon and Seaver has also got 8. Very balanced scoring today for the Comets as they're looking to close out the Yellow Jackets here down the stretch. Magerle will get it in to Gerber. Now over to Combs. Combs inside to Magerle. Dom trying to back his man down. Dom with the left hand scoops and scores.
Mama, there goes that boy.
14 points now for Magerle. The lead is now up to 13 for Capital. And a foul is going to be called against the Comets.
Call it on Nick Gerber. That's his second.
That will be his second, team's 4th of the half.
Excuse me, actually, that's his 3rd.
Well, remember, they had the shot clock violation. I thought that he already had a foul because of an offensive foul that might have been called against him, but I think that might have been more to do with what was going on with the scorer's table at the time when somebody, it looked like, spilled their drink. As Watson misses the layup, but he got fouled. And Gerber gets hit with another foul. So
that's 4. Yeah, I had 2 previously. I think it. So
okay. So now they actually have. They made the correction on the scoreboard by mistake. So now that's 4.
All right, it looks like he'll get subbed out after having a good performance here, coming off the bench.
Meantime, shot is up and good for Rob Watson III, who shot only 53% from the foul line. Doseck will check in. Nixon will check out. One more free throw attempt for Watson. Missed the second. Gerber with the rebound, so Gerber will stay in despite having 4 personal fouls with still a little over 5 minutes to play here. Gerber, he'll launch a jumper. That's no good, and the rebound is taken by Watson, who fell down as he was trying to get the pass off. Up ahead to Snyder, to Ellington. Ellington, step back 3. Ellington rattles in and out. Gerber with a rebound for Capital. And now Finkenbein will bring it across half court as Capital will look to salt some clock away here. It's going to be important for them, however, to get a good shot here at the end of the shot clock, whenever that may be. Magerle to Gerber. 9 to shoot for the Comets. Combs with the ball. Inside, Gerber lost it, gets it back. Gerber, tough shot, gets it to go. 18 points for Nate Gerber as Capital continues to pull away here.
He is having a day.
Capital 67, Baldwin Wallace 53. Mazzio, top of the arc, dribbling in and can't get it to go. Scramble for the loose ball, still a scramble, and now a foul is called against Doseck as he was trying to reach in, trying to get the ball away from Mazzio. So Doseck hit with a foul. That's his third. Team seventh, of the half. And now Mazzio will head to the foul line. 77% shooter. Jackson Simmons back in for the Yellow Jackets.
Mazzio on the season, a 77% free throw shooter.
And the first shot is up and good. Mazzio to this point with 9 points. Seems like it's been a quiet 9 points as now he's hit double digits today. 67-55. Capital with a 12-point lead with a little over 4 minutes to play. Finkenbein to Magerle. A little bit of a press put on by Baldwin Wallace, but Capital able to break it. And now a foul is going to be called against Simmons, I think.
That's Ray Ellington on that.
Okay, so Ellington hit with the foul. 16 foul.
It's a good hustle play from Gerber. Luckily, no foul call on him.
Inbounded to Doseck. Bounced over to Magerle. Dom over to Finkenbein. 3:48 to play. 67-55 lead for Capital. 10 to shoot for the Comets. Doseck to Finkenbein. McCain for three. No good, and the rebound is taken by Mazzio. Baldwin Wallace coming the other way. Facing a double-digit deficit. Mazzio drives in and scores. And now a timeout will be taken by Baldwin Wallace as the lead has now been cut to 10. 3:29 to play here in the second half.
Take a full timeout.
We'll take one along with them. 3:29 to play. Capital 67, Baldwin Wallace 57 on athletics.capital.edu. .329 left in regulation. Capital 67, Baldwin Wallace 57. Capital trying to win this game, send their seniors out on a high note, and more importantly, lock down that number 6 seed, setting up a matchup with Heidelberg in the first round of the OAC tournament next week.
That'll be a rematch of last year. Last year they lost to Heidelberg 77-65, so I think they got that rematch on their mind.
Doseck double teamed, and a timeout's going to be taken by Capital as the Comets weren't able to break that press that was put on by Baldwin Wallace. Taking care of the basketball is going to be key here down the stretch.
Yeah, now as they're taking a full timeout, they got one more timeout left, so time is now an unknown factor for the Comets.
And on the other side, Baldwin Wallace with 3 timeouts remaining as they face a 10-point deficit. While we have a moment, let's go ahead and get you updated with some scores around the OAC. At the last check, John Carroll was getting all that they could handle from Wilmington. In fact, the Quakers were leading at halftime. Right now it's John Carroll who is retaking the lead. 7:09 to play in the second half of that one. John Carroll 71, Wilmington 64. 2:50 to go in the second half at Muskingum. The Muskies trailing Ohio Northern in that one 54-46. Meanwhile, Marietta and Heidelberg, the possible opponent for Capital next week. 6:34 to play in the second half of that one. Heidelberg up by 9, 69-60. And then the last score check here, Mount Union playing Otterbein. 7:05 to play in that game. Looks like Mount Union's well on their way to a victory. They lead 79-57 with a little over 7 minutes to go.
They're taking care of business at home, and so are the Comets.
3:24 left to play here at the Capital Center. And Finkenbein slips. It's a turnover, and Mazzio is able to get 2 points out of it.
Spoke too soon. That's turnover number 13 for Capital.
67-59. Magerle up ahead to Combs. Now to Finkenbein, and now McCain will pull it out as Capital will look to run some clock here. Magerle dribbling around, 17 to shoot for the Comets. Magerle being guarded by Mazzio. Gerber, top of the arc to Combs. 4 to shoot. Combs for 3.
Splash!
Big 3 there by Carter Combs, sophomore out of Westchester, Ohio. It's now a 70-59 lead for Capital, approaching 2.5 to play. And Simmons gets fouled.
We'll see who they call that on.
They're going to call it on Nate Gerber. So the day is done for Nate Gerber as he fouls out, but what a day it was for the junior from Laddie, Ohio. 18 points, 7 rebounds, shot 7-11 from the field, 2 of 3 from three-point land as well, as the crowd gives him a very nice hand here at the Capital Center.
I want to go back to that shot by Carter Combs, a deep 3. However, that was his first basket of this entire game, coming in late and coming in with a clutch shot here and extending his lead.
So now Alex Iyink will check in for the Comets, giving them another quick, speedy ball handler out there. As now Simmons will head to the foul line. Jackson Simmons has shot 61% from the free throw line. He's a senior out of Wadsworth, Ohio. Right-handed shooter. First shot is up, and it's no good. Second free throw upcoming for Simmons. It's up, and that's no good. And the rebound taken by Doseck, who immediately gives it to Combs. Combs bouncing it over to Finkenbein. Back to Combs. Press is broken. Over to Iyink now. Back outside to Combs. 2:20 remaining. Capital 70. Baldwin Wallace 59. Combs, another 3. But the offensive board by Doseck. Fresh shot clock for Capital. Another ample opportunity for them to run some clock. Combs back outside to Finkenbein. 10 to shoot, 2 minutes to play. Capital by 11. Finkenbein, he'll try to go down the lane. And no good, rebound Mazzio. Minute 45 to play. Mazzio down the lane, gets the bucket to go. And a timeout will be taken by Baldwin Wallace. Minute 40 remaining here in the second half. Capital 70, Baldwin Wallace 61 for the time being. Baldwin Wallace within striking distance.
Looking at a 9-point game here now. At one point it was 12 points, now it's 9. 140 left. Defense wins games, wins championships. That's the motto, and Capital's going to have to pull through here. They seem like to be doing a good job of being quick, getting the ball and getting it off to another teammate here. And we know Baldwin Wallace is going to bring some full court pressure, so we'll see what Coach Goodwin can draw to get the ball across half court, and hopefully Baldwin Wallace will have to start start fouling soon.
Mazzeo with 15 points. Beats Baldwin Wallace in scoring. So he's definitely picked it up here within the last few minutes or so. Meanwhile, for Capital, got a great game out of Nate Gerber, 18 points. Got a very solid game out of Dom Magerle today, who's got 14 points, 6 of 10 from the field, 1 of 1 from three-point land. All that's left to do for Capital is to close this sucker out. Iyink, double teamed, trying to battle out of it, and now a foul is called against Simmons. So Simmons will be hit with a foul. That's his 4th. Team's 7th, and that will result in free throws.
Now you're saying Combs, not Combs, you're saying Iyink to the free throw line. He's still looking for his first points of the game, so he'll have an opportunity to make that happen here.
And he has struggled from the foul line this year, only 50%. Shot is up, and it's good for Iyink. Pushes the lead to 10, trying to make it an 11-point game here with 1:36 left to go. Shot is up and good. 72-61. 1:35 remaining in the game. Ellington to Snyder for 3. No good. Rebound taken by Doseck. Magerle to Iyink. Over to Doseck. Now in the hands of Combs, and now Combs will be fouled. Foul will go against Jake Snyder. 8th team foul. Capital now with an opportunity here to put this game on ice. Up by double digits. Make free throws, take care of the basketball, and you're there.
Combs 62% on the season, and this is his first attempt of the game.
Shot is up and good for Combs. 12-point lead for Capital. One more attempt for Combs. It's up and good. 13-point advantage for the Comets. 1:18 remaining. Mazzeo guarded by Magerle. Mazzeo trying to drive towards the hoop. Mazzeo, scoop shot is good. That's a good ball player right there. 17 points for Mazzeo. Double team for Iyink, and a foul will be called. Foul will be called against Simmons.
That is his 5th foul, I
So he is out of the game.
believe. He finishes with 8, 4 of 9 from the field, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists.
So now Iyink will step back towards the line. His team up 11 with a minute remaining. And the crowd can sense it here at the Capital Center. This would be a good win for Capital all around. A win for the seniors. Gives you momentum heading in the OAC tournament. A nice ending to what really has been an up and down regular season for this Comets team. A team that only had 3 seniors on its entire roster, that was forced to play a lot of young players. Iyink trying to put the finishing touches on here as his first shot is up and good.
Extends the lead, but yeah, going back to that, you end this 3-game losing streak, getting ready to shift into the tournament season. Couldn't ask for a better time, and with a team playing cohesively like this sends a message that this team can play together and win.
Iyink 2 or 2 from the line. 3-pointer by Mazzeo, no good. Rob Watson with the offensive putback. And now a timeout's going to be taken by Baldwin Wallace yet again after the made bucket by Watson. 49.5 seconds to go. Capital 76, Baldwin Wallace 65. One timeout remaining for each team. Be sure to join us for the post-game show. We'll wrap things up here for the men's game. And, by the way, more basketball coming your way here on athletics.capital.edu as the women's team gets set to take on B-Dub.
Women's team looking to bounce back as well, pick up a dub. They've been on a little slump here, but they get the close out against a top opponent here, and hopefully Capital can get 2 dubs today.
What is their seeding looking like in the OAC tournament next week?
Let's take a look at that. Last time we checked, like I said, they've been on a little slump of their own, just like the men themselves. So they've kind of fallen down on the ranks, but hopefully we'll keep you updated and see if they can bounce back with that. Let's see. Take a look at the standings right now. For Capital, they are sitting at the 6th spot right now, and it's a close one in between Wilmington with 7 and 10 in their conference as well. So they're going to hope for a Wilmington loss and maybe a John Carroll loss as well. They can claim that 5th seed.
So still something to play for the women's team. That game will be coming up later on today.
The Baldwin Wallace is the number 2 team in the conference. But they went toe-to-toe against Ohio Northern, one of the top teams in the conference. So you never know.
49.5 seconds, meanwhile, remain in our game. 76-65. Capital with the 11-point lead. And a foul will be called against Baldwin Wallace before the ball was even inbounded. Snyder will be hit with a foul. 19th foul, or actually 10th team foul on Baldwin Wallace. So double free throws the rest of the way here for Capital. And how about Alex Iyenk? He's been coming up big with these free throws down the stretch here. Here's a young man that was expected to play a big role for Capital. He has had to deal with a litany of injuries this year, which has really wrecked his sophomore season, as the first shot is up and good. Hoping for better health for Alex next year, and hopefully he'll be able to take on a bigger role for this Capital squad as Rob Watson III checks back in for the Yellow Jackets. Shot is up and good for Iyenk. 78-65. Capital with the lead, 45 seconds to go. Mazzio driving in. Can't get that shot to go. Rebound by Combs. Combs up ahead to Doseck. 35 seconds and counting, and now a foul will go against Mazzio. That's only his third of the game. And it will result in more free throws for Capital as it stops the clock at 34 seconds to go. So Finkenbein will head to the foul line. And here's another young guy that is expected to take on a big role for Capital next season. The freshman from Anna, Ohio, has seen his playing time grow steadily as the season has gone on. He puts in a good off-season, adds some muscle, continues to work on his game. Cam Finkenbein might end up being one of the top guards in the OAC.
Yeah, he's got some potential. Coach Goodwin definitely has a young plethora of talent surrounding him for next year, but shout out to the team for able to handle their business in today's matchup.
Ryan Roth has checked in for Capital. The bench is starting to empty for the Yellow Jackets, as well as Landon Potofsky and Leon Levski have checked in for the Yellow Jackets. 80-65 in favor of Capital. 34 seconds to go. Inbounded to Price. He'll bring it across half court. He'll launch a three. That's off the mark. Levski with the putback. That's good. Magerle gets it in to Finkenbein. Up ahead to Roth. Roth will bring it across half court. Now it's a rolling timeout. Griffin Doseck will check out. For the final time in his final regular season game, Roth will do the same as well. And we know that Joe Thompson would have loved to have had an opportunity to get that curtain call as well, but he definitely deserves a curtain call as well.
Indeed.
Don Magerle will check out. In for him will be Brody Goen. And in for Capital, John Michael Senes, the freshman from Terrace Park, Ohio. Also in, JoJo James, freshman out of Garfield Heights. So both teams emptying their benches here. Capital 20.6 seconds away from a victory here on Senior Day. Combs inbounds it, gets it into James. Now it's back to Combs. Shot clock turned off, and Combs will simply dribble out the clock. This will go down as a win on Senior Day. Capital locks down the 6th seed in the OAC tournament. They will play Heidelberg next week.
The rematch.
Good win for Damon Goodwin and his crew today as they end the regular season on a high note, defeating Baldwin Wallace by a final of 80-67. There was a lot to like from this game.
Yeah, I just loved how the team was able to play as a cohesive unit. There was no one key contributor, but if we had to point out who key contributed to this game, Nate Gerber coming off the bench having 18 points. You couldn't ask for anything better than that. Not only was he able to do the work that was necessary to get points on the board, he's doing dirty work, leading the team with 7 rebounds as well. So when you got bench help and you're doing a great job on the defensive end, the world is yours, and Capital showed it here with a nice victory today.
Again, the final score, Capital 80, Baldwin Wallace 67. When we come back, we'll take a look at the final stats of this game as Capital is able to get a win here on Senior Day. Capital victorious over Baldwin Wallace 80-67. This has been a presentation of Capital Comets men's basketball on athletics.capital.edu. Welcome back to athletics.capital.edu. Earlier today, Capital men's basketball team victorious over Baldwin Wallace 80-67. We'll get to the final stats of that game in just a moment, but in the meantime, we're going to send you down to the court as they are currently honoring seniors from the Capital cheer squad. Now they're honoring seniors from Capital women's basketball. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 13, today, George's heading on her dad, Scott. Her stepmom, Mel. Her mom, Martha. And her stepdad, Joe. While at Capital, Kaylee has been an important contributor to the team, having scored 269 points, pulling in 187 points in her career. In the classroom, Kaylee has majored in exercise science on a pre-physical therapy track. Additionally, she has minored in psychology. Kaylee lists her favorite Capital memory as that of beating Otterby at home for the over and celebrating in the locker room with the team. Ladies and gentlemen, number 24, Kaylee Sickers. Now, the final senior to be recognized today, number 25, Kaylee Ledbetter. As scored by her parents, Melissa and Roman. In her career, Kaylee has played in 43 games, scored 97 points, and recorded 57 goals. Off the court, Kaylee has progressed toward a degree in mathematics, while also studying toward minors in data science, marketing, and business management. Kaylee says her favorite basketball memory at Capital is beating John Kerry by 26 earlier this season. While her favorite memories outside of basketball include meeting her best friends through life. Ladies and gentlemen, number 25, Kaylee Ledbetter. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, please give a round of applause to these cheer and women's basketball Capital seniors.
Well, congratulations to all the seniors. They honored the seniors for the men's basketball team earlier today, and they're doing the same thing for both the cheer squad as well as the women's team. The women's team will be playing Baldwin Wallace coming up here shortly. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at the final stats from our men's game from earlier today. Capital ends up defeating Baldwin Wallace by a final of 80-67. We begin with the team statistics. Capital shot 51% from the field, Baldwin Wallace only 41%. From three-point land, Capital shot 37%, 7-19 from beyond the arc. Baldwin Wallace, meanwhile, 6 of 24, good for 25%. At the free throw line, Capital able to capitalize from the cherry stripe, 17 of 21, good for 81%. Baldwin Wallace, 9 of 15, 60%. The Comets out-rebound the Yellow Jackets, 38-27. Other team statistics of note, both teams had 10 assists. Capital with 13 turnovers, Baldwin Wallace 10. Bench points, Capital 35, Baldwin Wallace 27. Blocks, Capital 3, Baldwin Wallace 2. Fast break points, Capital 19, Baldwin Wallace 8. Steals, Baldwin Wallace 6, Capital 3. Points off turnovers, Baldwin Wallace 14, Capital 11. Both teams had 34 points in the paint, and Capital had slightly more second chance points, 11-10 in favor of the Comets. Now the individual statistics. We begin with Baldwin Wallace. Not a surprise here. Leading scorer for the Yellow Jackets was the senior, Anthony Mazzio. He finishes with 19 points, shooting 7 of 18 from the field, 2 of 6 from three-point land. 12 points for Ray Ellington, meanwhile. All of his makes from three-point land. 9 points for Rob Watson III. 8 points for Jackson Simmons. 7 points for Ashton Price. 4 points for Jake Snyder, and then 2 points each for Zoltan Nagy, Jared Logan, Leon Levski, and 2 points finally for Luke Driscoll. Now on to the individual scores for Capital, and it was a great day for junior forward Nate Gerber. 18 points off the bench, 7 of 11 from the field, 2 of 3 from three-point land as well, and 2 of 2 from the foul line. Just an overall great day for Nate Gerber. Dom Magerly also turning in an impressive performance, 14 points. He shot 6 of 10 from the field, 1 of 1 from three-point land as well. And finally, 10 points for McCain Finkenbein, as he was the third and final double-digit scorer on the day. He shot 3 of 6 from the field, 2 of 4 from three-point land. The other individual scores for Capital look like this. The senior, Griffin Doseck, finishes with 9 points to go along with 6 rebounds. 8 points for Justin Nixon, who also had 5 boards. 8 points for Ryan Seaver. 6 points for Alex Iink. 5 points for Carter Combs. And finally, 2 points for Trey Hammond. Jonathan Brown, overall, good day for this Capital team. You get a win on senior day. You are able to lock up the 6th seed in the OAC tournament. Now they get set to take on Heidelberg. Some good momentum heading into next week.
Hey, it's a good momentum. They had over 8 players for 5 points or more. The team contributed as a whole, getting the victory here on senior day, ending a 3-game losing streak, and now you got the opportunity to change history. You're playing the same opponent you played last year in the tournament. You left with a sour taste, and now momentum swinging in your direction. You get to go ahead and go face against Heidelberg and give them a taste of your own medicine.
As we mentioned, Capital will face Heidelberg in the OIC tournament next week. Stay tuned to athletics.capital.edu. They'll have all the information for when that game will be played. You'll be able to check in with live stats and follow the game on athletics.capital.edu. Well, it was senior day here for the men's team. It's senior day here for the women's team. Hey, it's also senior day up here in the broadcast booth. Mr. Brown, I've had so much fun broadcasting games with you this year, and I understand after graduation, you got some options, young man.
Yes, I do.
Tell me about your future plans.
I got some things in the works. I'm currently, working for Columbus City Council, so Columbus is definitely growing on me to be a second home, and I got some opportunities, some interviews later in the month, so you just keep faith, and I know God's going to work everything out.
All right. Well, hey, again, congratulations. I've had so much fun broadcasting with you, not only for men's basketball, but for football as well, and I'm sure big things are in the works for you in the future. Happy graduation, and we will welcome you to the real world. Trust me, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It is what you make it out to be.
I hope so.
Congratulations, and again, thanks so much for your help this season.
I appreciate it. Thank you for everything, Charlie.
For my broadcast partner, Jonathan Brown, this is Charlie Dana saying one final time the final score from our men's game. Capital 80, Baldwin Wallace 67. Fans, thank you so much for your support of Capital men's basketball all season long. Hopefully the men's team can keep it going a little bit when they take on Heidelberg in the OAC tournament next week. Until then, so long, and stay tuned for the women's game coming up here at the Capital Center. Jimmy Bloomfield will be on the call for that one alongside Jonathan Brown. So long, everybody.